Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are watching an interview with Anthony Noto, CEO of SoFi from 2019, speaking to our boy Jim Cramer, talking about how there is a fair amount of consolidation that is going to be happening in the financial services sector. This was before SoFi went public in 2021. This was before they acquired Galileo, which is their AWS of fintech technology. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see. I haven't seen this yet. I'm going to be reacting to it live. How Anthony Noto thought about the consolidation of financial services in a area where legacy institutions like JP Morgan and all of them exist, and what disruptive tech companies, basically startups, can do to really disrupt what's going on in financial services. So let's pull up that interview right now and we'll analyze it as we go along.
Industries. Companies like SoFi, that's the personalized online banking play. It's gotten so big, you know what? They're about to have a football stadium named after them in Los Angeles. SoFi.
And now they do, which is really good branding for SoFi. It's pretty awesome that they got that done.
Recognized that traditional banks weren't fully harnessing the power of the web to connect with their customers. So they built a whole business around the idea, and now it is worth $4.3 billion as of their latest fundraising round. So let's dig deeper with Anthony Noto, the CEO of SoFi and a longtime friend of the show. Anthony, welcome back to Mad Money. Anthony, SoFi's come a long way since you've come in, and I think really the naming rights is a very significant event for where SoFi is right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been almost 2 years since I joined the company, and a year ago we were primarily a desktop company in 2 loans. Now we're a mobile-first company, member-focused. We have a complete suite of financial services products. So we have SoFi Money, which is a high-interest paying account where you can pay your bills, pay your friends. You can spend with a debit card. You can spend with Apple Pay or Samsung Pay or Google Wallet. And we also have SoFi Invest, which is the ability to buy stocks without commissions. You can buy ETFs. We have 4 of our own ETFs specifically focused on millennials and Gen Z. You also can buy cryptocurrency and robo-advisory.
Well, I think the crowning achievement is to actually, it was a brilliant idea to take the stadium for the Chargers and the Rams to be like a long game. You're playing a long game.
We are playing a long game. And so now that we have this complete set of financial products, we have to build awareness of them and become a household name. And the stadium is a great platform for us to partner with an iconic brand like the National Football League, but also all the other events that will be there. The World Cup will be there, the Olympics, a couple of Super Bowls. Obviously, if the teams make the playoffs, there are a number of other major events, college football national championship. So we want to be part of this iconic destination for live sports and entertainment, and that will help us build awareness, build trust, and become a household name. So all of these products are used by all of the great Americans that deserve to have them.
And that makes a lot of sense. You know, Anthony Noto was the former COO at Twitter, and so he understands more than anything. Twitter's entire business model was brand impressions and advertising around content. And so when it comes to brand identity and recognition and people actually using a product on a daily basis and just associating your brand with something, he's been through it. CFO of NFL, understanding the NFL's brand, been through it at managing Twitter, and Twitter's entire, again, advertising model is based on brands and how can you give them awareness. So being able to get that deal done now that it is done 2 years later and they have an entire stadium named after them, I think that's just great, especially if some of those football teams end up going to the playoffs. You have high level games, you have a lot of amount of viewership and attention. That's only good for your brand at the end of the day.
Millennials love your product. We have about 900,000 accounts now?
We have over 900,000 accounts. We have just about 9 million registered users. We introduced SoFi Money and SoFi Invest in the spring. They've done incredibly well. We've driven great innovation for millennials and Gen Zs, giving them real products and offerings they wouldn't otherwise have. Things like fractional shares, these unique ETFs that give them diversification at a low price point. And also we've introduced home loans as well as in-school lending now, not just student loan refinancing.
Would it matter if Democrats swept the House, some of these Democrats, and they got rid of student loans?
At the end of the day, we're helping people achieve financial independence, which means they have enough money to do what they want. Regardless of what the regulatory environment is or what the rules are, people still have a need to get their money right, and that's what we're focused on, helping them get their borrowing right, savings, spending, investing, and protecting. And that's a complete portfolio of services, including free financial advice through our certified financial planners and career advice with a partnership we have with Korn Ferry. So the regulatory world is going to change, but ultimately the needs of the consumer remain the same.
Now, were you surprised about these rumors about possibly Schwab and Ameritrade tying up? Because outfits like you that don't charge commission are really driving the world now.
We assume there's going to be a fair amount of consolidation.
Has to.
The financial service industry really hasn't had the type of innovation that you've seen in e-commerce. You've seen,
and that is true. Back in 2019, Robinhood was on the rise. They were my first brokerage that I started trading with, and like that innovated in so many different ways to get more millennials and Gen Z onto the investing scene. And SoFi's doing the same. So you see a lot of big institutions having to consolidate because the tech that's beginning to drive things forward, disrupting the legacy institutions, and they have to react at that point with whatever's going on.
in online travel. And just in this year, we launched products that have never been brought to the market before. The ability to buy $1 of Amazon. If you wanted to buy a share of Amazon today, I think it was over $1,700.
Right.
We noticed that our users were buying stocks that are less than $10.
But you mentioned they were buying Ford, and we don't want that. And look, GE is making a turn. Yeah. Ford could be good,
right?
But they should be buying growth. What did you teach us? Buy growth, but they can't afford growth because these guys won't split their stocks anymore.
So the insight that we had is when we first launched SoFi Invest, we saw the two most popular stocks being less than $10, and they weren't high growth stocks. Right. And they certainly weren't brands that millennials and Gen Z are familiar with. And so that's what led us to launch Fractional.
Are people understanding that they can buy a fraction of Apple and buy a fraction of Google? Are they doing it?
They understand they can buy $1 of Apple, $1 of Amazon.
Are they doing it?
They are. In fact, 50% of the first-time trades of our new users are using fractional shares to make their first investments. And now the most popular stock on that platform is Amazon, which is over $1,700.
Then you did it. You did it because I've tried to get these CEOs to realize they have to split the stock. But from the commission business, they want to pay fewer commissions, which means they actually believe that you can get retail investors pay $1,700. They're failing in their mission, so you have to take it upon yourself to win.
The most interesting thing that's happened since we've done that is we've seen the changing of the most popular stocks, but we've also allowed people to buy something like Berkshire Hathaway,
right,
which is really challenging to buy given its price point at $1 share.
Are you surprised that millennials suddenly have discovered the stock market when we thought that all they cared about was cash and gig economy and trying to make ends meet?
I'm not surprised. What I think has made a difference for them is we're giving them access to investing.
Right.
And it's imperative they invest in their 20s or it's really hard to catch up later in life. And so giving them more accessible products like $10 ETFs for a 500 share ETF, right, that's broadly diversified, or ability to buy a stock at $1 at a time has really made a difference in the growth. And we've seen tremendous growth, not just in number of users for SoFi Invest, but also assets that they're investing, and then also buying our other products. So they're becoming multi-product customers after they join the platform.
And I think that's important, right? Like in 2019, 2020, like that was a financial revolution that we'd never seen before. Obviously, AMC, GameStop happened in 2021, but you've got a lot of people that are interested. Like I remember 2019, I started buying NEO because it was $3, and I was like, oh, it's cool as a NEO. I sold it at $6. I should have held till 60 on Robinhood just because it was there, and I was just trying it out, and it kind of felt good to have ownership of a company, and that kind of feeling that psychologically you have ownership of a company. It's something that the new tech companies like SoFi, like Robinhood, are able to do. SoFi, I just think it's just it's positioned in a fundamentally better way than something like Robinhood. But nonetheless, I mean, Noto kind of predicted what was going to happen, and now it ended up happening definitely 2 years later.
Now, are you still, how much of your business is still the student loan business? Because it was such an important business at one point.
Yeah, the majority of our revenue is still student loan business because that's where we make most of our revenue. The other products are early days. They are driving small amounts of revenue, but have scaled really significantly in users. And so you could see us by a year from now being 50-50 in terms of the number of non-lending members versus lending members.
Are any of the older banks getting good at trying to get your youthful cohort? I know Bank of America's got a really good app. It's got all sorts of people. Goldman teams up with the Apple Card. That had to surprise you. You worked at Goldman.
We're looking at what the member needs and try to uniquely meet their needs. So we're aware of all the other options that are out there, and we're trying to make sure what we put in the marketplace is differentiated for the members' needs, and having a complete suite of products on one app, on one technology platform, and treating people like members has really made a difference.
So it is still the member idea, which Mr. Cagney first introduced me to, was one that I thought he was doing socials and trying to get people together. You doing a little more traditional banking, fewer socials?
Yeah, we approach it slightly different than that. We approach it from the standpoint is what does this person need to get their money right? And then we build out from there. We don't ask, is this a good business? We ask, is this a product and service that they need? And we don't just offer the product.
You're offering what the customer wants.
We're focused on what the member wants and not just what comes to them traditionally, but what they need specifically for their generation and for their lifetime.
Well, you've really, in the time since you've gotten there and left Twitter, it's a real company, and I got to congratulate you for everything, but I knew you'd do it.
We've had a lot of fun. This was our record quarter. We grew over 55% in the top line, great run rate in revenue, and really seeing great adoption of the new products.
And you are in the discussion in the East when I talk to banks now. It's very interesting. Well, with SoFi's got it. We're okay, Jim. We're okay. I love it when they say, but we're okay. You've done it.
We'll keep running faster. Thank you, Jim.
That's it.
Awesome. I love Cramer saying I knew you would, because it's betting on Noto. At the end of the day, if you're betting on SoFi, you are betting on Anthony Noto. And the reason I wanted to react to this is because 3 years ago, he was saying, look, there's a lot of disruption coming. There's a lot of stuff that's going to push other banks to have to do different things. And the suite of services they've been able to do to transform that company from a majority student loan revenue business to now being the entire or controlling the entire banking infrastructure and payment processing application layer for new fintech companies or neobanks, which through their Galileo acquisitions and Technesis acquisitions, which makes up their AWS of fintech portfolio or value proposition. That's incredible. To go from that 3 years ago to what they are right now, to become a public company and to have the potential of doing what they can do, it's exciting. It's really, really, really exciting. So yeah, that was a nice clip reacting to Anthony Noto on Mad Money 3 years ago, and whatever he said kind of happened. And now it's just a question of how much more they can keep growing and how much more they can really prove that they are the industry leader when it comes to being the suite of financial services in one place and the core banking infrastructure for new financial companies, tech companies that are starting in the future. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Leave your comments on how you feel about SoFi. See you in the next one.